Hi everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome to Black Thread Studio, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is September 11th, 2022. So I just want to send out some prayers and some love to anyone who suffered in the tragedy of September 11th in our American history. I know the whole world will probably never forget it, but I just wanted to say that I am recognizing that today is September 11th, and not only for those that were affected that day, but just the whole world today needs a lot of love and prayer. So I'm just sending that out to everyone. Anyway, I started a couple weeks ago talking to you guys about the prayer and joy pillow I was going to work on for my little meditation chair that I have over that way. And I did start filming that for you. And so I'm back today. It's taken me a couple weeks to get back into Black Thread Studio to work on it. But I have done a little bit of prep work. So I'll show you what I've got done. I did find this. It was a longer piece of this fabric that I had that I think I used on a border for another quilt. And I'm just jumping right in. Maybe I should tell you guys if you're new. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry, thank you for being here. I like to stitch. I like to stitch anything. I like to cross stitch, embroider, quilts. Okay, I shouldn't say anything because I don't do clothes. I don't tailor. There's something about that doesn't appeal to me. Curtains don't appeal to me, although I have done curtains. I like to do, and clothing can be creative, so I shouldn't say that. You know why I don't like to do clothes? Because usually things don't fit me after I make them. So, you know, a pillow and a quilt are always gonna fit. So anyway, welcome. If you are gonna spend time with me, it's pretty much just chit chat, and chit chat. And I do like to share things. I like to share the passion of stitching that I have with you, because if you're watching, then you have it too. And it's just that gathering of like minds being able to share. I mean, I could just sit and watch somebody stitch, and there's some YouTubes out there that that's how they do. And you just get mesmerized and drawn into it. So if you're here to have fun, just to kind of watch me bumble around and stitch, then welcome. So what I decided that I'm going to do is work on this pillow that I want for my little meditation chair where I sit in the morning. And I have a couple pillows over there that don't work for me. I don't know why, but I have always, whenever I'm sitting somewhere, had a pillow on my lap. It's just a comfort level for me. The pillow that I have over there is scratchy. It doesn't work. Yes, I have other pillows, but hey, don't we look for a reason to have to make something? So I decided I was going to make this pillow that said pray on one side and joy on the other, because these are the things that I'm really focusing on this last year, and just continuing on. So anyway, this is the fabric I found. I did show it to you. I felt like it wasn't going to be big enough, because I'm just going to use it on both sides of the pillow. It's going to be pretty much the same. I didn't plan that. I don't usually do things like that, but this fabric has been sitting, these pieces have been sitting around so long. I'm kind of tired of looking at them just in the tub. I want to get them out and use them. So this side is going to be the pray side. I'm still stitching that, but I will have that done for you by the end of the day to show you. And then the other side for joy, I did start that one, and I'll show you what I did. So for joy, all I did was a simple stem stitch. And I had this book pulled down. Let me grab it for you. It is such a good book. Hold on. There's a lot of good books out there. This one I use a lot. This Molly Makes Embroidery, and I think it's not brand new. I don't know what the date is on it, but I've had it for a few years. If I see a date in here, I'll tell you. It does have really, really fun projects in it. It has really fun projects in it. Just look at that. You know, I kind of feel like if you like to embroider, or see, they even have like a little cross stitch chart in there for a bird. So many cool things in here. Anyway, let me see if I can find you the pillow that I fell in love with that was in here that I wanted to do. So I just get a lot of inspiration from looking at books, whether they actually be actual, you know, how-to books, or, oh, it's gonna drive me crazy now. Okay, so like this, I don't know if you guys remember, I had a quilt. I should prepare for these videos, shouldn't I? I did a quilt that I have 2 sisters. I do have a brother, but that reminded me of my sisters, and I'm the middle child, the forgotten Cinderella child. But I did a quilt that inspired me from that. If I get done here and find that pillow, I'll grab the quilt to show you. Anyway, and looking for that other, oh, here it is. Look how pretty that is. I guess that speaks to me, on the black, the red and the greens, and that blue. That's so beautiful. Anyway, in the back of this book is just pages and pages and pages of all these different stitches that they teach you how to do. There's a cross stitch, canvas, crewel. Bear with me. I kind of feel like I'm running on empty today. I don't know why. Maybe because it's really rainy and cool out. As you can see, I even have a sweater on, which is, I know everybody's excited for fall, so am I, but the ending of summer is always really sad for me, because I spend so much time with my family in the summer on the lake. Anyway, the stitch that I did was a stem stitch, and I'm not finding it in here now, but this book is just full of different types of stitches. So do you want me to grab that quilt real quick? I know you've seen it before. This is the quilt that I made, that I got the inspiration from those little nesting girls, only I made mine angels. This is mostly Kaffe facet fabric, and those are my angel girls. So I guess that one would be me. That one's my sister Deb, and that one's Tracy. Not to leave my brother out, but it was just the girl angels, I guess. So anyway, we'll get back to the pillow that I'm working on. Okay, so I did joy in the stem stitch, and then what I did was I found the middle of my pillow form, or my fabric that I'm using, and I was afraid it was going to be too small, and it was. I had to add this piece of polka dot onto the bottom of both sides, and I made it a little bit wider just because I want to make sure I was going to have enough width when I cut this down. So I folded my corners. I folded it, you know, corner to corner, and then like this, and marked my center, so I can find my center for my joy. I did have that marked and found the center. I did iron it out. I will check it again before I stitch it down, but that looks about right to me. So I had done a row of hexagons. These are the 1-inch hexies that I showed you how I glue basted at the beginning of this video. And then what I did was I got my row done for the top and the bottom, because this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to border that. I'm just going to kind of do a straight stitch to get this tacked down to my pillow front here. Now that these are done, I've got to come in and I want to figure out how I'm going to stitch these sides together. It's going to be kind of in a little zigzag shape to get this lined up. So what I'll do is I'll get these stitched in the order that I need them. I'm missing a couple, but they're around here. I had originally, when I laid this out, I had trimmed down the linen part of my joy and I cut it too short. So what I did is I sewed on these little strips of that polka dot to the side, just so when I go to line this up, if anything is showing underneath, it will be that polka dot and it won't have that raw edge and look funny. So I guess that is a perfect example of who I am and how I stitch, because I don't do things right. I don't do things perfect. And if there's a mistake, that's the challenge for me, is to figure out how I'm going to cover it up without redoing the whole thing. I just want to make it work. So that's going to make it work. And a lot of times it looks better than what I even imagined. So I am going to do that. I did, oh, you know what? I think I did this wrong, because I meant to leave a space at the top for a yo-yo. Maybe I won't have to do that. See, I made a matching yo-yo that I was going to put right down here. I still might do that. I don't know. So what I'm going to do, and then what I decided to do, instead of doing the hexes on the other side to line pray with, to go around the border, because I'm going to do the same thing, I think I'm going to line it, use this fabric, and do all yo-yos, and then stitch those down, just so that I can incorporate the 1-inch hexes and the yo-yos, because they're both my favorite. They're both my favorite. While I've got you here, I think before I start doing anything with these hexes and start stitching them down, which I will bring you back and show you what I'm doing, but I did want to show you, I kind of talked about when I base them down that I do it, I know you're going to remember because this is going to be all one video, but I did this a couple weeks ago, so I'm just reminding myself. When I glued these down, I did, you know, in front of me, away from me, and then I kind of start going in a counterclockwise manner, doing that. And that way, when I get ready to take the papers out, I'm going to take 2 of these out so you can see how simple it is. Excuse me. This is what I do. I actually, oh, should I take 2 of them out to show you? I'm going to do 1 and 1. I'm not going to do 2 together, because I want this to be a little bit more secure when I'm working with it, to try to figure out what I'm doing. But to get these out, when it's glued together, they come out really nicely if, you gotta figure this out. Yeah, whole camera. It fell last time and now it fell again. Are you guys still there? I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Hang on. Hold, please. Okay, so I'll try to do this so you can see it. So you see where these 2 are my sides that have the flaps that are on the top, right here and there. If I peel that away, see how those are? It's just going to come right off clockwise, because I glued it down counterclockwise, and I'm just pulling that apart. I usually use something like you know, a little needle or something like that, and you can just pull that out, and then you kind of just have to lay those back down into shape. That easy. And then I will iron those down. Let me do another one. I'm gonna keep it laying flat so you can see how I actually do it. I'll just flip that up, I actually use this to kind of pull that. I'm just going all the way around. I'm going to use the tip to get in there and get the edge of the paper. I should be able to pull it right out. And I can probably still get another round out of those. And then this, I will just iron back down right into shape. It just goes right back into its little folded shape. And then I was thinking about tacking these down by hand, but I actually think I'm gonna machine stitch them just because this is a project that I just want to get done. I just want it to get done fast. So I think I'm just gonna machine stitch everything today. And then I'll be back. I will come back and show you when I'm ready to do the other side and when we're ready to finish up. Okay? So I'm back to show you guys what I've been working on here. I did tell you that I was gonna stitch this down and then lay the hexes on top, and then I am gonna machine stitch these to cover the border. When I originally laid these out, I knew that it wasn't lining up correctly for me, for those to lay flat, the hexes to lay flat. I guess because of the shape of this, and it's too small. So I originally intended for there to be a space up at the top so the hexes could lay flat, and then I was going to put the yo-yo. Then when I laid them out, it seemed like they were going to lay flat. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and try it. So I'm either short a hexie, or I can take them apart and add the yo-yo, which is what I think I'm going to do. So what I wanted to tell you is that I am not going to stitch this down first. What I'm going to do is, after I get this where I have it all figured out where it's going to lay flat and work out for me, I'm going to glue base this down to my joy, and then, as you can see, I'm going to end up with these little corners that stick out from the hexes. I'm going to go from the behind and trim that back so that it matches up, or it's laying behind, and then I will come back and pin this down, and then I'm going to stitch the whole thing with a machine stitch just around the edge of the hexes to make sure that that is laying nice and secure. So that's how I'm going to finish off this one, and then I will be moving on to the back. I've been working on this, and I was successful at actually figuring out how these needed to be sewn together to go around, to fit around my joy. You can see I did need that little strip on the sides, and once I have this laid down, actually, I like that I had to add that. I think it adds some interest. So what I did was I did fix that. I base glued it down, and then I'm going to set it. I'm getting ready to actually go ahead and pin it on to my pillow fabric. I'm going to machine stitch and just kind of go around the edges and make sure that that's nice and secure. And then I am going to do the back with Pray. And I think what I figured out, because I've been working on this and I just want to get it done, is the yo-yo that I did not use on the front that matches that fabric. I'm going to make this back a very kind of plain, more plain. I'm just going to border it with this fabric around the edge, tack it down, and then I'll use the yo-yo someplace on the back. So I'm going to get going on that, and we will just see how this pillow is going to finish out. Oh, I did want to show you, just in case you are interested, I didn't have the numbers written down, but I did want to tell you that I used to embroider these. Again, that's a stem stitch. This one was my own handwriting, Joy. I made the little dot on the J, a heart. And then the Pray was the one that I showed you that I ran off and just made a copy of, and I traced it with the light, I was gonna say light board, light box. So I ended up using 3 strands of DMC. These are old So I don't have the numbers written down, I'm sorry. The Prey I used a really, really dark chocolate brown, and then this one is kind of a mustard gold yellow. So I used 3 strands of DMC to stitch that, and we're almost done. Moving right along, I did get the stitch down. I went ahead and used just a straight stitch, and I went around the outside and just stitched that down again with a straight stitch. And then I kind of thought, you know, I kind of like that this is open. I don't know that if I have to stitch that down, but what I decided to do is that I'm just going to tack these points down with a French knot. So I thought I'd come in and show you how I'm going to do the first one, and then I'll go through this, and then I'm going to be ready to start on the other side. So I just, I'm using about 3 to 4 strands of the dark chocolate DMC that I'm going to embroider Prey with on the other side, and I am just going to come up into the point of that. Now the way I do mine, I'm going to have to lay this flat. There are different ways to do French knots. I think I wrap mine, well, it depends on how big you want the knot, but I think I tend to wrap mine like 4 or 5 times, so we'll see what I do. Okay, so you're going to wrap it around the needle, and then the idea is to come back down right next to, so after I wrap that around the needle, I'm going to poke my needle right back down, coming down into next to where I started, and as I pull it down, I'm going to hold that thread so that it stays in a knot around my needle. I've been having trouble with my camera falling over when I bend this down, so let's see if this works a little bit better so that you can see. Okay, just kind of go with me. I'm slipping my needle right underneath the side, right underneath there. I don't know if it matters if you wrap it towards you or away from you. I always wrap mine towards me around the end of the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems about right to me. So as I'm holding that tight, I'm backing this away a little bit. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had it too tight. I'm backing this back. I'm sticking the needle down into next to where I came up, and I'm going to hold this tight, and I'm going to go underneath. I'm holding my thread tight. I'm going underneath, and I'm pulling that all the way through until it pulls that knot tight. Now that's about 3 to 4 strands. That was wrapped 5 times, so that does make a nice prominent knot, and I think I like that. I think I'm going to do that all the way around on all of these points. To tie that off, I guess I could just drag my thread over and do it to the next one, but I'm afraid it's not going to be as tight as I want. So I'm just going to kind of knot this off on itself on the back and cut it off. I usually do at least twice. So I just pull that through and knot it off on itself. And I'll do one more. So I just kind of make a little quilter's knot that's almost kind of like the French knot we did. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then pull that through, which I showed you at the beginning of this. And then I usually do cut off my tails. You can see I'm not like really measuring anything. I'm not caring if it's perfect. I'm just going to come up from the bottom into that point. You know, it's not easy to do this upside down. I'm going to bring that up. I do want to stay consistent and wrap it the same amount of time, you know, for each knot, so they turn out about the same size. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to back my needle up, stick it down. I'm holding my thread here, sticking my needle down, and then I'm going to pull that tight. I have a few to go, and you can see this one's farther up and that one's closer to the point. I am not going to care about that. Am I? Maybe I am. Usually I don't care, but I think I am. I'm gonna cut this off. I think I am gonna redo that one, but I'm gonna do this so that they're all facing me so I can get them. Look, I'm just gonna cut that right off. That's how easy. I should do that one over. And I'll turn this around so I can actually look at them and get them a little bit closer to the points, and then I'll be back when I finish that part. I did get all my French knots down on my points of the hexes for joy. That's my joy side. Now for the pray side, I decided I'm going to do it a little bit different just because it's been a long day and I just want to get this done and have it on my chair so I can use it tomorrow morning. So for pray, I did finish stitching it. And what I did was I actually cut a 3-inch border. I just made it up. I didn't measure. I didn't have any plan. I just cut it 3-inch because that was the ruler that was sitting out at the time. So I did that. I stitched the sides down here first, and then I stitched across the top and the bottom so that I have a nice border. And then to finish it off, I just folded and ironed my edges down. I didn't even measure so that they would come right over that seam that I did. I ironed that down. Oops, I'm losing what I did here. I ironed that down, and then I just clipped off those little corners so they wouldn't stick out on this side. You want to go through and trim all your little threads. And then I am simply going to center this on the other side for the pillow. I'm going to stitch that down just all the way around, and then somehow, where did I put my yo-yo? Somehow I'm going to attach the yo-yo and put it somewhere. This side's probably going to be a little bit more plain right now. I can always add to it. Even after it's stitched together, I can always do some hand stitching and add some yo-yos or something else. So I did forget to tell you, I wanted to show you when I was doing the other side. There are so many different ways to do the hexes. These are the 1-inch. There, you can cut those by hand. There's a lot of people use the Cricut machines. I actually just bought mine off of paperpieces.com, and you can see they're very, very well worn and used. As I've said before, I can use them like 3, 4, maybe even 5 times depending on how that goes, and that's with me glue basting. So I just wanted to show you that if you do have any questions about English paper piecing or anything as I'm going through, if I know the answer, I will certainly help you. If I don't know the answer, I will also help you, and I will help myself by trying to find out anything that any of us have any questions about that have to do with stitching. So I just wanted to show you the paper pieces. So I'm so happy. I think I like this side so much better. This is the side that's probably going to be showing the most, but I won't say that until I get the pray side done. So I will be stitching to try to get these done. And oh, you know what else I wanted to tell you while I was sitting here? Because it's been a long day and it's been raining in between. You know, I've had lunch, I've had snacks. I was sitting here and I don't think I can flip this. I can't. Anyway, I'm looking out to the side of my house. We have a lot of trees and everything out there. And once in a while, I'll see something moving. 4 wild turkeys. The mama, the daddy, and then 2 babies came walking by looking for food. And it was we see them quite often, and I just want to say that it's a lot of fun to see those wild turkeys, especially when they're in your own backyard. And also, Jim changed out my light bulbs in my sewing room, so if it seems brighter, that's why. So I was really struggling because I couldn't see. I'm going to finish up the pray on the other side of the pillow, and I keep saying this, but we're coming to a finish. So I have to show you guys what I did. This is why I love doing these, because I, more than anything, want you to see that you can make mistakes. You don't have to rip stuff out, do it over, think that it's not good enough. You just have to make it work. So this is what I did. Okay, here's my pray side that I got done. And I stitched that on using kind of this little cross stitch, cross hatch that I have on my machine. I just decided to do that. I did get my yo-yo on there. And just in case you're wondering, unless you're a purist and you feel like you have to hand stitch everything down or machine stitch it, again, you guys know I've just wanted to get this done. So my yo-yo is on there with Unique Stitch fabric glue. If I feel like I want to go back in and hand stitch it just to be sure, I can, but this is permanent. This doesn't wash out. I use that on so many things. So I got my pray side done. I'm ready to trim down my pillow, and look what I did. So I have a decision to make. I wish you guys were here to talk back to me to tell me what to do. So this is my pray side. I thought what I would do is sew it together on my edges so that the stripes line up. I wasn't going to put any trim around the edge, do anything fancy, just get it sewn together and have my stripes match up. Okay, here's pray. Here's my joy. I did joy first, and I meant for the pillow, the colors to go this way. Pray, I put on upside down. So I can either sew it, see how the edges look if I don't like them, use some kind of trim around the pillow, or I can still stitch it so that my stripes match up. And since you're only going to see one side of the pillow at a time, I can actually flip it. So like if this is joy that I have showing, I have joy showing, and then I can just flip it and it will say pray, which is what I think I might do, because you're not going to see both sides at one time. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So not a total loss, just kind of a little detour. Can you see I'm holding my pillow? So I almost have a finish. I saved the very last part to share with you guys. So there is joy, and I'm not going to flip it this way. It'll be upside down. I decided to just stitch it together without the stripes matching, and then I'll show you the trim that I put on it. And there's my pray side with my yo-yo. I like it better how, if I would have matched up the stripes, I would have had these two orange meeting at the top, and then they would have been meeting at the bottom. And I like that they don't match now. So I went through and I kept thinking, should I bring back the fringe again? Should I bring back the fringe? Oh, those turkeys are out there again. Oh my gosh. I wish you could see them. Anyway, turkeys just walked by again, and it's like 5:15. It's getting late. They're probably looking for dinner. Anyway, I thought I'm gonna bring back the fringe again, but I didn't want to do it all the way around. I thought with this oblong pillow, I actually like this side better. I like the hexies. With the oblong pillow, that I could do the fringe just on the sides, which is what I did. So the very best part of using this fringe is when you get to pull it off and make it fringe. One side already started coming apart, so I won't show you that one. Well, just a little bit here. But when it comes, it is all stitched together so that it's easier to apply to your pillow. And then there's a string that you release. This is the side that I started pulling. But there's a string that you release, and this is the best part. Let me find where I put my string. There it is. Okay, you ready for the ta-da? You just pull that, and then you fluff it up. Let me do the other side. This is so satisfying, I don't know why. If you go all the way all around all four edges, it just comes off in one big long swoop, and it's really fun to do it that way. My pillow, it's soft, it's cushy. I can use either side. And I think I'm gonna go set it in my chair and see how it looks. Exactly the way I wanted it. My chair, soft pillow on my lap, and we're gonna do Shirley's Cottage. So how about that? Okay, I've got my book ready so that when I get done with the column, I'll cut it up and I'll put it in my recipes from Shirley's Cottage, my collection that I have. And if you haven't been with me before, my mom wrote for the Cambridge newspaper in Cambridge, Wisconsin, and she always did a little family about a story about family, friends, or the town, whatever, and then she would try to connect a little recipe to the story. And as always, I only read these as I read them to you. I haven't read them for years. So this one I found is from Thursday, September 7th, 2006. So we're right around in that same week. This one was called You're Meeting Who? Where? I have a friend from my old days at the courthouse. She is one of those friends that you may not touch base with for years, but is still always a friend. A divorced mother of 6, she worked hard raising her family, working a full-time job and cooking on the side to support her brood. She would bring her baked goods to work every Friday. They didn't last long. The unique thing about her is her attitude toward life. She is a good mom and friend. At different times, she has been a caregiver for members of her family. But I never figured out how she found time to take care of herself too. Jean loves to have a good time. She sings in the church choir and she sings karaoke in the local bar with just as much enthusiasm. She can outdance anyone in her own town's annual polka fest and jitterbug until she drops. Wow, Jean. She loves to laugh and have a good time. She doesn't smoke, drink, or swear. I have never known her to jeopardize her morals. It never stopped her from having fun. In her quest to meet new people and possibly looking toward the future, she became a big fan of the personal columns. She did not have a computer. She did just fine with the meeting place in the newspaper. One day she called me and said she was coming to visit. Good, I said, it's been much too long. She had a hidden agenda that didn't stay hidden very long. I'm going to meet someone from Madison, she said. She thought the lake would be a perfect spot to meet. You're going to meet who? Where? Oh, brother, I really didn't go for that, but I didn't say anything. Look at ad number 823476, she said. Mr. 823476 was a DCN/SN/DPM, divorced, Christian, non-smoking, or drinking professional male. 6 foot, baby blue eyes, brown hair, in search of the total package for fun, friendship, and possible commitment. Wow. That's right. Does anybody remember when they used to do it like that, I guess, in the paper? Whoops, I guess I am more reserved and stuffy than I thought. All I could think was, is this for real? In the end, the meeting did not happen. I can't say I was disappointed. The bottom line is that eventually she did meet someone, and lo and behold, they got married. Computer dating and the personal ads have become huge in the past few years. I don't know what happened to meeting people in church, work, clubs, or through friends. Dynamics are forever changing, each to their own. I know a few people who have gotten together in this way. Dr. Phil is even helping to make a perfect match. He is, for a fee, of course. I thought about this because recently I called Jean to get one of her recipes. I never knew a better baker. She said she is happy. I can't imagine her being anything else. She asked me how I was doing and if I was still single. Single, yes, and plan to stay that way. I said, this WWCN/SF is doing just fine. These cookies were a favorite of ours when she brought them to work. I thought she was going to say what that meant, but she didn't. Okay, Jean's applesauce cookies. 1/2 cup Crisco, 1 cup of sugar, 1 egg, well beaten, 1 cup of applesauce, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of cloves, and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, nuts, and raisins. Hope I didn't go too fast there. Cream Crisco, sugar, and eggs. Add remaining ingredients and mix well. Drop by the spoonful on cookie sheet. Bake at 350 degrees for 12 minutes or until lightly browned, and enjoy. Okay, what do I want to say about this one? Crisco? They did use Crisco, remember? Oh, good Lord. I don't think I would eat that now, but they do sound good. Okay, so that was your meeting who, where, and that was 2006, so things sure have progressed and changed a little bit. So that was from Shirley's Cottage. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, you guys. I feel like I have to explain myself, Lucy. For those of you who do know me, I still have trouble with my ear. So sometimes I realize that I don't say things right, and it's because I think I can't hear myself correctly. So let's add to that. Let's add to a year ago, I got this floater in my eye, and you guys know I work for a private optometric office. I got a floater in my eye, and I've had floaters that come and go. This floater is the size and the color of a stink bug, and it is to the left of my center vision in my left eye, and it's driving me crazy. So I'm struggling a little bit, not only seeing to read, I struggle at work, and I was certainly struggling with sewing a little bit. I am going next week for a consultation to see if they can zap it and just laser it away. It had to be 6 months to a year. I had to wait to make sure that it wouldn't kind of go away on its own, but it's not. So hopefully that will be better if we can fix my eye, my ears, my teeth, my hip, my knees. We just might end up in really good shape. So anyway, I hope you guys all had a really, really good weekend. And if you want to know when I'm going to put up a video, you can always subscribe and turn your bell on. Right now, I don't know. I'm hoping it's going to be once a month, but I do not have a weekend planned. I'm just going as it flows. And I hope you guys enjoy being here, because I sure do enjoy doing this for you and being with you. So you guys have a really good week ahead, and I will see you as soon as I can. Okay, bye-bye.